In this video, I'm going to show you how I transform these old looking sad lampposts into something like this. I mean, this.
My wife says this broken lamppost is a safety hazard. Can you believe it? I told her, just because it doesn't light up anymore doesn't make it dangerous. It's just shy during the nighttime. But I lost that battle. So let's replace both of these posts the only way I know how. Loudly, slowly, and with at least 3 trips to the hardware store. But the first thing we need to do is make sure the power is off, because I prefer my DIY projects without any surprise fireworks or any involuntary dancing. I think I know why these posts rusted out. Looks like they hold water pretty well, actually. Next up, digging out the old posts. Because nothing says fun weekend like wrestling a chunk of concrete that's somehow bonded to the Earth's core. Now, could I have dug these out by hand? Sure. But I believe in using the right tool for the job, so I rented something that can tear up the driveway and possibly reshape the property line. But in all seriousness, I actually had rented this machine because we actually dug up a ton of old bushes in the yard, and these things were massively overgrown, been in the ground for over 30 years. Oh, look at this. That's what was holding the pole in. Some concrete in a bucket, which, you know, would normally work fine, but for my case, it just didn't work. But anyways, yeah, so I rented the machine to dig out those bushes, and I'm really glad I did. So I figured I had the machine for a day, why not use it to dig these holes? And I'll tell you, at the time, I thought this was a great idea, but in hindsight, this was a bad idea. Because I'm not using concrete to put these posts in. I'm just using the dirt around it. And when you're moving this much dirt around the posts, you're getting rid of that virgin soil, so nothing is compacted around it. So you have to just spend a lot more time compacting all of the dirt around your posts. So by using the machine, it actually made more work for me in the long end. Oh yeah, and here's the second bucket full of concrete. I live on a large hill. I was just about to jump out of this machine because I thought it was going all the way down the road, and I thought I was in trouble. But luckily it stopped right there. So, because it's the end of the day and I gotta return this machine, I decided I'm gonna wrap the holes up in some caution tape, you know, just so the kids don't turn it into an extreme sports arena.
So as you can see here, it's like, because it's been in the ground for quite a while, I actually have really big roots that have grown over from the tree here, grown over these, so I can't just simply just pull it up. I gotta find where the roots go under and then try to pull from underneath.
And the reason why I'm pulling up all of this wire is because it's house graded. And house graded wiring underground is like wearing flip-flops at a snowstorm. It's just not made for it. So I'm upgrading to ground contacted rated wire. That way it can handle the moisture, dirt, and then a little abuse, you know, without quitting on me. And here's the material I'm using for these posts. I'm using two 12-foot 6x6 posts, a 12-foot 4x4 posts, and two 8-foot long 2x4s. And this is all pressure treated material. To get these ready for stain, I'm removing any bark chunks that are left on there. I'm also just hitting the edges up because I don't want them to be too sharp. and then hitting it up with some 80 grit sandpaper.
All right, and with all that sanded down and with the sun setting here, hopefully it's not too dark, I'm gonna put on one coat of this timber oil. It's a cedar transparent. It's the same stain that I used on the mailbox video, so I'm kind of going for that same look, so that's why I'm using this. It's gonna take a couple coats, but I just wanted to get at least one coat on tonight.
And when I went to bed that night, I was dreaming of a pool. I'm like, great idea. Let's make a pool instead. No, I have a lot of clay, and there's no drainage.
Erosion.
Here I'm measuring the distance from the driveway just to make a mark of where I want the posts to be. They're basically going to be in the same spots the old ones were. These boards are going to be used to go on the back side of the posts. I'm going to rabbet out this section here, and it's going to allow the electrical wire to go through and be hidden between the two boards. My plan is to add electrical outlets about 18 inches off the ground. So I need to be able to get the wire from the back of these boards into the outlets. So on the very ends, I'm just going to take out a little bit more material just to make sure. And right here, I just ran it over a little bit so the transition wasn't so sharp on that wire. Time for another edition of Just a Tip.
All right, so I'm getting ready to break down this one beam here. This beam should be enough for both posts that I'm building. And I just wanted to show you, this is just a really quick miter station I've set it up. I don't know if you know this, but here's a good tip for you. A lot of these miter stations, they're designed that if you take a 2x4, if you look at it, it's the same height. So all you have to do is grab a 2x4, bring it out, and then you have table extensions. Kind of a neat little trick. I got one on each side. Let's cut this thing.
And to go further with that tip, grab a couple of 2x4s and screw like 2 of them together, because you can see if you just have one like this, and as soon as you slide your board over, they'll knock over. So just put a couple together. The first boards that I'm cutting are what I'm calling the main overhang boards. So I'm cutting 2 of those. Obviously, we're making 2 posts, so there'll be 2 of everything. One end is going to have a 15-degree bevel. The other one will have a 90. Up next, we have the braces. Those are going to be 45-degree angles. And finally, we have the back of the main overhang. Again, 15-degree angle on one end, 90 on the other.
All right, so I got all my pieces cut. So right now, these are the 2 main timbers that are gonna go in the ground. The bottom is there, this is the top. Obviously they're laying down. This piece is gonna go here. Then this is a support piece that will get attached right around here somewhere. So what I need to do is figure out the best way to run wire, somehow get it through here. I'm gonna have to drill a hole, have it come up, and then attached to the fixture here, and then hang down. So we gotta figure that part out next. Okay. To attach everything together, I'm using 6-inch timber locks and also using 8-inch lag bolts. Now I'm figuring out exactly where I want my main overhang post to come out. And I'll be using these 8-inch lags to attach that main hanging part. The part that hangs out. I'm recessing these a bit so that the heads don't stick out. I think 3 should do it. And 2 things you want to check: make sure the head of the bolt is set below the surface, and make sure that the socket will fit in the hole as well. Now I'm pre-drilling. I don't want to take any chances of anything splitting. Even though these are 6x6s, it shouldn't, but why not? Now I'm using these 2 scrap pieces that are 1 inch. This is going to help me set that this board is exactly in the center. And I'm just running my drill through the same holes again, just to leave marks on the other board. That way we can get those ends pre-drilled as well. Now to set that 8-inch lag bolt. Okay.
My ears are ringing.
So,
What?
that didn't draw it in as much as I thought it would.
Yeah, I made a little mistake here. I forgot to add the washer to the bolt. So when you're driving in this lag bolt, as you can see here, if you just keep running it in, it's basically just smushing the fibers, and it won't grab onto it. It won't grab the shoulder of the bolt. And that did the trick. With those washers on there, it sucked it right in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Tractor beam. Sucked me right in.
Okay, so I originally went to the store and I went and picked up the Simpson Strong Tie Outdoor Accent. So basically, it mimics like a large head bolt. And my original plan was to have 2 here and 2 here to attach this support brace. But there's just not enough room. So I'm going to do 1 and 1. And I'm using these 6-inch bolts. If you come around here, you can actually see there's going to be plenty of holding power. It's going to go in like right about that. So almost all this thread's going to be in here. So that's plenty. All right, so this is the back piece that's going to go on. I need to notch out right here to allow the power to go through the wire I'm going to run through. So I'm just going to find halfway, and then I'm just going to remove all the way up, all the way down. Just going to remove all this area. All right, I'm hoping this gives you a better view. That's down there is the bottom of the pole that's gonna go on the ground. So the electrical cord's gonna get fed up through this notch that we cut out in this 2x4. That's gonna get put on there. And then this piece is basically, it's just mimicking that board coming through, okay? Kind of like that. So that's why I notched this out. So the electrical cord could continue to go through. And what I'm gonna do after is drill a hole here that the electrical wire can go through and then get attached to come out here and go through here into the structure and then hang the light. I know it's a lot, but we're gonna get there. Stick with me.
Let's prep some holes. Now I have to tamp the ground to make it all compacted as much as I possibly can. The more you compact it now, the less movement you'll have later.
Just get it close.
Then you get some child labor.
On the grass if you can. All right.
So as we set this pole in, you're going to notice I have a scrap piece of 2x4 screwed on already to the side here. What that's going to do is it's basically going to help me hold it in place. So as I set this in exactly the spot I want now, just got to flip this board over. I just grabbed a 2x4 and I just cut an angle on the end to make them stakes, drove those into the ground, get everything lined up and ready to go, and then you'll see my son has a level there. And he lets me know when he's got it leveled in this one direction. And once it's good, I screw it in to the stake I put into the ground. He's checking the other side. Once that's good, I screw it in and we're good to go.
High five.
And a high five to the MVP, my kid, who didn't complain once and even held the level straight. Better than some adults I've worked with.
Jack, come here.
Yeah.
Hey, do you want to take a break and play some Minecraft?
Yo, that'd be nice.
There you go. Start digging.
And because I use that excavator instead of just making a smaller hole, we're only putting in about 6 inches of dirt in, and then we're just really spending the time to tamp it down as much as we possibly can. Rinse and repeat. 6 more inches of dirt, get to the tamping again.
Excuse him, Mom. Tired yet?
No, but I haven't.
Livy, to be fair, you have the harder shovel to use
True.
Dang it.
because it doesn't have the point.
Listen, parenting is 10% love and 90% convincing them that digging a hole is a bonding activity. I'm making about an 18-inch cut into the board that we put the rabbet in. This is the board that's going to go on the back of the post to hide the wire. So that 18-inch piece is basically from the ground up to the electrical box. I grabbed some black exterior screws to make it look a little nicer. I wasn't worried about hiding the screws. The theme of this is kind of like a cedar look with black accents, so this'll work. One thing I should mention is you're going to notice I'm not really talking about the electrical. I am not an electrician, and I don't think you should be taking advice from me about how to do electrical. So that part you're going to have to do on your own. Just taking a little extra time to get these screws set, because I know that once I start dragging this board over, half of them will fall out, so I enlisted a little help.
You're not going to pull the trigger all the way. You're just doing slowly, okay? Put your finger on the trigger like that. Just do a little bit. A little more. More. That's good.
Looks like a good fit. Oh, This board is not going to stay on its own, and my drill is over there. Let's do this quick. And of course, it wasn't falling at all. I'm actually quite impressed I didn't pull a hamstring.
All right, so let's take a trip up the ladder here. Show you what I'm doing next. All right, so we just attached this, that hides that board. Now we gotta worry about this. And this is the board that I had cut out earlier and notched it out as well. And that's going to fit just like that. And what that does is it gives the illusion of this post that the light will hang from, that goes like mortised through this pole. I thought about doing it, but that's a ton of work, and I think this will be just as fine. So my next thing to figure out is, how do I want to attach this? And I think the easiest way is I'm just going to put in 2 screws from the top here. I'm going to angle them in. I'm going to pre-drill it and see how that holds, and then go from there. If I have to add some adhesive, I could certainly do that. But we're going to put in 2 screws, and we're going to see how it looks. All right, so I'm happy with this. This is nice and strong. This isn't going anywhere with just those 2 screws. Now, I was wondering what I was gonna do with this. I was actually gonna cut like a little triangle piece of wood here, but I think it's gonna take away from the look. And not to mention, when you're down on the ground, way out here, you're never gonna see that. So I'm just gonna get some brown silicone, some brown caulk from exterior grade, and just fill that in, because I don't want bees and stuff to get in there. And then I think we're gonna be good. What is that? Oh, we got our first resident. Huh. Hey, buddy. All right, you know what to do? Just film me. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. What? Okay, I'm gonna be hanging the light basically centered between where that support comes and the end. So I made a mark here, and I just transferred that mark to the top. So I'm gonna go ahead and drill that hole all the way through. Probably help if I had a fresh battery. Alright, so this is the light we're installing. It originally came with chain. However, if you use chain outside, any slight breeze and this thing would be swaying all over the place. So what I did was I went on to Amazon, and I picked up these, basically they're little extension rods. This is the one I'm using. It's a 6-inch. I ended up getting a few different sizes, some 2-inch, 12-inch, because I wasn't sure what the height I wanted. So I went ahead and just replaced the chain with this extension rod, and it should help with it swaying in the wind. So let's get it up.
And here it is. It came out really good. Again, I'm not going to show you electrical. I'm not an electrician. I don't want you to take advice from me. If you've hung up any interior lights before, ceiling fan, something like that, this is basically the same idea. So if you're comfortable with it, do it yourself. If not, hire that electrician. All right, let's finish this thing. I found these pretty cool caps on the interwebs. I just think it adds a nice little touch to the top. And here I'm pre-drilling for basically dummy screws. I'll put links to everything I'm using here down below if you guys want to check it out. But it just mimics the bolt head. And since we were kind of going for that mortised look for the post that comes through here, I think this just really sells it. And to be honest with you, I thought I was done, but it turns out you can kind of see the wire on the top. So I'm going to fix that. And I think I came up with a pretty good solution. This is a pressure treated 2x4, and I'm just cutting off a 1-inch strip. And then I measured about, I think it's about 20 inches or so. Depends on how long your wire is if you're doing this. And I beveled one edge just to give it a little bit of character. And then I used that same technique on the table saw, stopping about 1 inch from the end. Made that channel to fit the wire through. Gave it a quick couple coats of stain. Threw a couple of brad nails in and called it a day.
Well, the posts are in, and my back is sore. And somehow, this channel has hit 1,000 subscribers. So either I'm doing something right, or the algorithm just took pity on me. But either way, thank you so much. Whether you've been here since video 1, or you happen to click on this video by accident and stuck around out of morbid curiosity, thank you. I appreciate you making this channel a thing. So, with that, on to the next one. Of course, after I take a nap and get some ibuprofen. Oh, hi. Let me tell you how I... Oh, it's Bailey.
Bailey?
What are you doing? What's the dog doing?